Okay, welcome to episode 3 of the 1/700 scale Revell Titanic build. And just to recap, in the last episode we put the deck pieces into the spray booth and sprayed them up. And off camera, I've taken the opportunity to do a bit of prep work. And as you can see, all the bits on the deck that need to be white are now white. And I've achieved this by actually scraping the paint off rather than painting with white, because white is notoriously difficult to paint, often needs multiple coats. But by scraping off the paint, managed to get a good finish and some very nice straight crisp lines. I've also done some marking up for the smokestack rigging, and on the smokestacks themselves I've actually drilled 3 holes in each side to accommodate the rigging, and I've done this using a pin vise. As you can see, got a 0.5mm drill bit in a small handheld unit that allows you to precisely drill the holes where you need them. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to carry on, and we're going to start fitting bits to the deck. You can see we have an anchor that we need to fit on the first decking piece. We have some bulkheads that need fitting as well. This is for the bridge, and then we can skip through to these sections here where we can fit the other tiny bits, and also on the stern as well. But we still need to do a bit of painting, namely these benches here and these chains here. So we'll go ahead and do that first. Okay, we're at the painting station, and as you can see, we've got these little bits here to do in E, which is this little pot of grey. And these benches here, which we're going to be doing in 7843 cork brown. And this dark gold grey, which is 71277, is going to be for all capstans. I was going to paint them green, but I'm going to stick with the instructions. And then we're going to paint the actual cranes. We're going to do them green with black ropes. And there's a small crane that goes on the front, which we're going to paint in the same way. So let's go ahead and get on with that. So first of all, we're going to do the benches. And we want a very fine brush. I've got a magnifier on and ready. So we just need a couple of drops of cork brown. Put on some gloves to avoid fingerprints. I'm going to start with this piece first so that it can dry and we can get around to fitting the other bits and pieces. Take your time. There's just a very subtle difference between these benches and the deck. And you can only just make out the difference. So it's very discreet. Just want to go through the benches down that end. Have a look at the other deck pieces. There's a couple of benches here. When you're doing scale modelling, you want to get yourself a variety of brushes. As you can see, this one's a very precise one. And to get even more precise, this one only has a couple of bristles on it. Because you're going to be painting different size pieces. You want to be able to get into tight areas. And once you're happy that you've got all the benches, like so. Some more benches on here. It's a lot easier to do this when the decking isn't on the model. Just finish off. Okay, so once you're happy you've got all of them, we can now move on. And just want to clean our brush. And with acrylics, you just need to use a bit of water, and that'll clean off your brush, like so. Next piece we're going to do, we're going to be using natural steel 7864. If you're using Vallejo. And the bit we're going to be doing is these chains at the front here. So we just need a mixing tray. Give it a good shake up. Like so. couple of drops. There we go, just like that. And the anchor that goes on the front will be painted the same colour, but we'll do that once it's in place. And just go through and check. So put that one side to dry, and we've got some more H on here, which is on this piece here, and it's this back piece here. So and because this is a glazed area, what I'm doing is I'm just going very lightly over the frame with this steel colour. Very tiny bit of paint on the brush. And then once that's dry, I'll go through with a very light blue colour just to fill in the gaps, give it a glazed effect. And as you can see, that's another piece that the white was scraped, so that's now looking as it should, with actually a raised structure on the deck. So put that to one side. There's another piece to do in the steel, which we'll do later on once we've got the smokestacks fixed in place. And apart from that, I think we're good to go with the next colour. So once again, we'll clean our brush. The next colour we're going to be looking at is, the dark gold grey, which is N. And that's going to be on some of the smaller bits. But I'm tempted to leave them white. I can always touch them up with the colours later on. So we're going to do that later on. So the next grey is the Revell 374, and it's just a silk grey. So open up, and we want to give it a bit of a stir. And this grey is going to be all the capstans around the edges. So we want a thinner brush, like so. And again, as little paint as you can. And as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of paint or a lot of different colours before you start actually seeing a real difference. So we'll just carry on. Probably just seeing a lot of my head, which I'm sorry, but need to get in with the magnifier. Okay, so you can see the front end's almost done. And just those little bits of grey make a complete difference to the overall detail aspect. And it's really starting to come together. Okay, so that's the front end done. Got a couple of pieces on the rear. Okay, so very subtle with the benches, but the grey and the steel really make things pop. So that's looking incredibly impressive, if I say so myself. So we're going to leave that to dry. As you can see, we've done the framework on this building here, so we just need to go in with a glass colour. And we can use 70902, which is Azure. So just make sure that we don't spill that everywhere. So again, shake it up. A couple of drops. And we want the absolute thinnest brush we can find. Which is this one here. What we want to do is we want to just like that. And you can see the steel colour still comes through, but we can go through that over it again once we're done with the glass. Should have really done the glass first, but never mind. We live and learn. So we'll just go in the recesses, like so. Take the hairdryer. Get our steel again. Very, very light touch with the brush. Tiny bit of paint. And just Okay, so that's the decking pieces painted up for now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the cranes, and we're going to be using the flat green, which is 70968. So another mixing dish, shake it up. A couple of drops in our dish, and we just want, actually we can go for a bit of a bigger brush for these because it's all one colour. So, but we want to avoid getting the locating peg, just to make gluing easier, as these mounting points are now plastic. We can use our liquid glues. We don't have to worry about paint being destroyed. So just give them a coat of green. They're very delicate, so actually painting them on the sprues will make it easier to get them off without damage, just by giving them a little extra protection with the paint shell. Or, well, that's the theory anyway. So we'll just go ahead. I think these look a lot better green anyway, because you look at a lot of machinery and industrial stuff from the early 1900s. A lot of it was painted this almost British racing green in the factories, so it makes sense that it would be painted the same on board ships. But this thin bit at the top here, that is supposed to be rope. So we're going to go ahead once the screen is dried, and we're just going to come back and touch up, paint them either black or a rope colour. It says black in the instructions, but I think a rope colour would set it off nicely. And flip it over and do the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and finish painting these, and when we come back, we're going to start actually fitting bits to the deck so that we can start fitting the deck into the hull.